about the politics, really. Have you seen about these schools that are taking kids to protest?
Holy moly! This is not a conversation for now because I'm gonna go on for a minute on this one.
Go on for a minute.
Oh boy. Okay. Again, why are we having children involved in things that they need not be involved in?
They don't need to.
Across the board, right now. Okay, you want to tell us how schools, how our nation's becoming dumber, how the test scores are lower, this and that and this. You've got people that okay, so you want to take them out of class. These kids want to go out of class, and you want to let them, and you want to support this crap. And we can't even, the kids can't even freaking read good. Like, okay, let's stop funding the schools then, because I don't want to send my money to a place where the kids are just going to be able to not go learn. If they don't want to learn, then they don't need to be there. These parents need to step up. These school boards need to step up. These people need to step up and stop that crap. These children need not be involved in that. And I guarantee in 5 years, these kids are going to be dumb, out of high school, in the work field. Oh, well, they never taught us how to do math. Well, no, because you spent that lecture outside protesting something that doesn't affect you.
Oh, it was ridiculous. Yep. What was it? Hold on. We have to... If I found out my kid... I think they went somewhere, but it was like a field trip. I have to sign off on my kids to go on field trips. The idea of like, hey, we're taking your kids downtown, by the way. I've seen these like teachers being all like, well, we can't go out and protest. We have to watch these kids. So we thought, we're going to do it in here or live stream. Well, it's all like,
they already preach about how dangerous it is and how they're out there murdering innocent people. And the first thing you can think to do is let's take children.
Take the kids out.
Let's put children in harm's way. No, that's an emotional manipulation tactic because they're going to put children in harm's way. We saw the same stuff across the world not too long ago, where they use children as the propping arm. They put children in harm's way. They hide behind children. And then when the children get hurt, the people who hurt them are evil.
Not only that.
Only because they hurt children, not because these people were doing evil things back. It needs to stop.
So not only that, it's a bad excuse for them to be able to identify people, too. It's like, oh, your child didn't attend this. Maybe you feel this type of way. Or something like that.
Oh, like if you took your kid out of class because of it? Oh, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's a really sketchy terminology like that because, I mean, you as parents, even having your child in a school system, your names are all attached to that.
Yeah.
They know who's the parent of who.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very easy for them to identify, oh, well, they don't feel the way we do about these movements. Maybe we should treat these kids in this family a little differently.
Sue them. No.
Yeah.
Let them. No, let them.
Well, see, I mean, and that's just it. I hate to put a side in here, but it seems to be that the left loves to bring ideas to children that children need not think about. Children should not be worried about their sexuality. They shouldn't be worried about ICE, especially at a public school. At home, fine. At home, whatever your parents agree with.
As a matter of fact,
but if you're at school, you're there to read, write, and do math. You can't do anything in this world unless you can read, write, and do basic math.
Keeping kids out of it is the biggest thing. Even for me, working over at, for instance, one of the biggest issues that I have to run into is the fact that sometimes someone will send their child to the door to talk to us because they're trying to avoid having to speak to us. We don't get to have conversation with the child. That's not how our job works.
It's a child.
Yeah, the child's not on that agreement. The adult is. The child didn't sign a contract. The adult did.
I'm sorry for laughing. You can continue. I'm just picturing like you having to pretend to arrest this kid just to get the.
No, like I said, we're not allowed because the kids aren't involved. They're forcibly being made.
I'm not thinking of it logically though.
Not necessarily forcibly. They're being made to answer that door.
I see what you're talking about.
Even though it has nothing to do with
that's a big accusation and a lot of framing there. So they're being forced to answer the door, being told to answer the door, being coerced to answer the door. While I do agree that might be happening some of the times, I think you got to say that. You got to say that in a very careful way.
Because my kid runs to the door sometimes.
I did too. Whenever I was a kid, I loved the door knock.
Like I said, there's black sheep across the board. Ultimately,
you guys are wrong.
The point I'm getting at with it is the child is not who we need communication from.
No,
the adult is. No. And we don't get to incorporate the child in our tactics of getting communication from them.
Well, no, I get that. I get that. I was just more saying that you got to be careful how you say like when we go there, these kids are instructed to go to the door so that the parents prevent.
No,
like
you're
not.
100%. That's a little harsh to put it. I imagine there's a majority of parents that tell their kids not to touch the door when someone's knocking. Mm-hmm. I guarantee that's the case. But I can guarantee that does happen sometimes. So you can tell when it is an instructed base, mainly because the kid has to look back for approval on every word he says, and you can tell when it's not. Mm-hmm. You can tell when the child's just home alone, which once again, that's just like, okay,
bye.
We hang a hanger.
Let me get out of here.
Go. Yeah.
Well, what you do is do this. Be like, oh, you're talking to your parent right now. Be like, well, ask your parent. Like acknowledge that you can hear.
No, like I said, we don't.
No, you can't. You can't do nothing like that.
We don't get to.
You can't acknowledge.
Like I said, questioning children like that.
I can't involve the child.
No, I wasn't questioning though. Oh, you got me there. I was just gonna say you're not questioning the child. You're acknowledging.
No, like, hey,
this is what.
But you can't give demands either.
Do you know the only tactic?
Like, hey, child,
that we have.
I demand you do this thing, child, that I don't know.
The only tactic.
What's your tactic then?
That we have at our disposal in that situation is, and you have to say it loud enough that anybody behind that door can hear it too.
Okay.
Well, I guess since you're home alone, we need to contact the authorities and make sure that you're taken care of. Real quickly, people run to that door.
I bet. Yeah.
Real quickly.
That's funny,
That's actually good. Yeah.
Well, because
we know why.
That is what you should do in that situation. No, if a child's left home alone, you should be contacting authorities. Honestly,
especially if they're answering the door for strangers.
Yeah. Well, and there's an age limit. You can tell whether or not a child's old enough to take care of themselves and whether or not they're not. A teenager.
You don't get to make that authority. If they're a minor, they are minor. They are minor.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That's not exactly true.
No, that's 100% true. Why do you get to draw the line?
The law actually made that. The law says a child can be left home alone at a certain age.
What age?
No, what is the law?
I didn't tell you right off the bat. You want me to look it up?
Yeah, please. Actually, I didn't know that. Please.
Well, you mentioned a child and calling the authorities. So if a minor, minors are minors are minors.
Let me go ahead and look it up.
And then
let me go ahead and look it up. Be patient.
Please.
No,
yeah.
I'm impatient. Hurry.
I was gonna say I need to chime back in with what you said earlier. I was gonna disagree to a certain point because there's definitely kids, and I'm looping back to what you were saying. This is excluding his conversation. Or his segment on the topic. I was gonna say there's also like kids getting raised by like Republicans, like that grew up with certain views because their parents, Mm-hmm. But the difference is you don't see that in schools, where the left is in schools teaching all these kids, whereas like these Republicans, if you see this kid with bigoted views, it's a kid here and there. Whereas
a million times over, it's actions over anything. You can have whatever views you want, but if you don't cause any trouble, you don't cause any problems, fine.
Well, the same can go for the left then.
Well, no, exactly. But when you're taking kids, I would have the same feelings if kids were walking out of school from the Charlie Kirk getting shot. I would have the same feeling. Get your back in school. What are you doing?
Well, they did. They take them. I think. I've heard a moment of silence. I thought some kids.
Okay.
Maybe not walked in.
This right here.
Kids did walk out. They just didn't want
this right here.
Kirk, though. Sorry.
I think this right here kind of covers what I was explaining. Neglect laws. Although no set age exists, if a child is left alone and their safety is compromised, it can be considered child neglect or abandonment.
What? Wait, could you?
So there is no specific age, just until they're an adult. So
yeah. So actually, that makes it even worse on them because that means there is no loophole for them.
There's a lot of loose holes around.
Yeah, with my understanding, they had a loophole. But
that was my point. So when do you get to decide whether or not they're old enough for you to not have that conversation?
Well, at this point, I just get to say that until they're 18, then they're not old enough.
Yeah, but no, until they're 18, you get to use your tactic of calling the police.
Yeah,
child endangerment.
Yep. Because that's the thing. When you have to think about that, leaving a child in a situation where their safety could be compromised. Mm-hmm. This child home alone answering the door to two Rent-A-Center employees.
Yeah.
We're very
that's what I was saying earlier. Open doors to strangers. Like,
I wouldn't say fit and muscular.
Yeah.
Other than that,
that right there already accounts for child neglect.
Yeah. No. You guys could have been human traffickers. You know, that's big these days.
Yep.
Allegedly.
Literally drive a box. But no, yeah, it's just one of those things where.
Oh, no, it just ticked me off when I found out kids were getting took out of schools. And I'm all like, kids,
okay,
letting them know. You need to know where the
the 15, 16, 17-year-olds that decide to just walk out, you can't stop them. If they decide to just walk out en masse, there's not much you can do on that. I like that. I can't necessarily fault the teachers 100% until there's an investigation done where we learn whether or not the teachers had involvement. Yeah. But when it comes to like elementary school, like 13 and lower, I would say even probably like 12 or lower, or maybe probably like 12 or lower, because 13 and up you're given a lot more freedoms, but lower than that. Those are coerced. Those are things they don't even know what they're even. They can barely wipe their own ass. They can't even make their own dinner. You know, like they can barely freaking read and comprehend the world around them. They don't need to be going out where. And once again, I thought ICE were evil monsters and terrible people who, like, if you went out and protested, you were going to get shot and murdered.
They are.
You were going to get murdered.
You are.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So what's the? Yeah. Oh man, a place where people are getting murdered. Hey, Childs. Let's go, Childs, and
let's protect them. Here's what's gonna happen though. A kid's gonna get hurt, and they're gonna blame it. They're not gonna take responsibility for it. That's the problem.
Exactly, yeah.
That's
evil ice.
Well, not even I don't even know if it's gonna be on ICE or not.
I'm calling it on my front.
No, you're good.
Pretty boy signing out.
We'll wrap it up on this. I know it's gonna get twisted once a kid gets hurt, and the worst part is a kid's gonna get hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's not going to be any accountability like there usually isn't.
No, it'll just be more of this division and fighting, and nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
And more people are just going to get hurt.
Have a great night, bud.
Because you've got a bunch of emotionally unintelligent
children,
adults,
overgrown adolescents.
No, they're adults. They just have the emotional intelligence of a child.